I enjoyed this film so much more than I thought I would. I am speaking about the movie Eternity, which was Regal's November 10th mystery movie. The day after that, I did a live stream with deleted scenes. I'll try to remember to link that to this video. And we had an interesting discussion about it. It's an interesting story, pretty creative, original, an A24 film. Feels kind of like an A24 film, kind of quirky and different. I mean, that's A24 has sort of established itself as far as that goes. The premise of the story is, and it stars Elizabeth Olsen and Miles Teller. I can't remember the name of the other guy who played in there. Oh, Da'Vine Joy Randolph was in there as well. I really liked her performance in here. She was so funny. But this is, it's kind of like, it's a romantic comedy, but the premise is different. And it's not your typical love triangle sort of thing, because the setup for the story. So I'll give you the basics. It's about this woman named Joan, I think that's her name, and I forgot the name of her husband, played by Miles Teller. And it starts off and they're older and they're heading to a gender reveal party. And not long after the movie starts, you find out that Joan had been married before to a serviceman who had been killed in the Korean War. And they were very newly married when he died. So she never really had the experience of having a full married life with this man. And very shortly after you find out about that, the character of Miles Teller dies and he wakes up in this place. He doesn't know where he is. There's a bunch of people. It's like this trade convention. There's this hotel he's at and he has to meet with his, I think they're called the AP or something. I can't remember. And the representative or whoever that he meets with, that's like his AP, if that's the right term, because it's been a few weeks since I've seen it. She explains that he's dead. And the reason he doesn't look like himself anymore, at the beginning he was an old man and now he's not, is because when you die and you show up in this place, you show up as how you looked when you were at your happiest in life. So he was happiest when he was his youngest self. And he knows that his wife, Joan, is probably going to, well, she is going to pass away soon because she has terminal cancer, but he can only stay around in this nice hotel place for a certain amount of time before he decides, what eternity do you want to spend your eternity in? What place do you want to spend your eternity in? So he wants to wait for his wife, and eventually she comes along and she is her younger self too. And then the monkey wrench in this whole story is that her first husband, the one who died in war, is there, and he's been hanging around in that trade convention place. It's the best way I can think to describe it. He never chose an eternity. He was waiting around for her. And so he got a job, and that's where he's been just spending his time. So she has to make this choice between these two men. Which one does she want to spend her eternity with? The reason I really like this concept is because it takes the sort of love triangle and flips it on its head to make it an understandable love triangle. She was married twice. The first marriage did not end in divorce, it ended in death. And then she went on to meet and marry Miles Teller's character, and they had a long, full life together, children and grandchildren. So she's very torn because she loves both of these men. And I thought that was a very interesting story setup. And like I said, I went into this not really expecting to like it as much as I did, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. And not only was it very comedic in certain parts and super creative and original as far as like the whole world where they were in this place where they had the different eternities that were kind of like trying to sell their eternity, like representatives trying to sell their eternity to the newcomers. It was funny. It was funny. But I also liked, in addition to that comedic aspect or interesting aspect to it, was, and I'm not big on comedy, you guys, but I don't mind it when it's mixed with something else. And in this case, it was like a sort of romantic drama. But what I really also appreciated about this, in addition to the original and creative concept, was the surprising level of depth that it had to offer. Because while it's wrapped up in this kind of interesting little package of the comedy and the situation and this world that they're in, this sort of in-between world between death and the eternity that they're going to choose, there are these heartfelt sort of moments where she is struggling very much with this decision. And in this world, there are places where you can go. It's called the archives, and you can see memories of your life. And so she is watching memories of her life with these two men. And I thought it was very interesting how it dealt with this subject matter. And it never really diminished either one of these men in the eyes of the viewer. I mean, there were comedic moments that happened because the men kind of felt like they were in a little bit of a competition with each other, but it never really demeaned them to the point that you felt like you were pulling super strongly for one in favor of the other, because I could understand why she felt so conflicted and torn. And I thought that the decision that she made was going to be the decision, because that seemed like, well, that's just the best way to handle it then. But I knew that wasn't going to be her final decision because it was way too early and I knew there was more to come. And I really liked how everything wrapped up. And I liked the messaging that was in here and the appreciation for the different experiences that you have with people in your life and how they each hold so much different meaning for you based on where you are in your life and where the relationship is and where it ends up and things like that. I thought the performances in here were really good. Elizabeth Olsen was good. Miles Teller was good. Da'Vine Joy Randolph, I've already mentioned her. The gentleman who played Elizabeth Olsen's first husband, also very good. I really have no huge complaints at all about this movie. When Deleted and I were talking about it in our live stream discussion, he indicated that at the beginning he really wasn't into it because he found the world where they were more fascinating than the characters, because there wasn't that connective bond yet. We hadn't grown to know these people as their younger selves, because when we meet Elizabeth Olsen's character and Miles Teller's character, they're older, played by different actors. And so we don't really have an emotional connection with them, but that grows as the story progresses. And so if the first half of it doesn't draw you in, maybe by the second half or as it travels into the third act, you will have that emotional connection to the characters that can really pull on the heartstrings quite a bit. So I just thought this was a very interesting, well done rom-com-ish romantic dramedy, I guess, sort of, though it leans a little bit more into the comedy in certain aspects. It's still very much grounded in the dramatic element of these three people and the choices that they have to make and their past connections with each other. And I just thought it was well done. And I really appreciated the effort here. And I enjoyed it enough that I wanted to go ahead and do this separate standalone sort of review for it. For those of you who didn't tune into the live stream discussion, it might not be for everyone, but I thought it was something worth mentioning. So that's me doing that now for Eternity. It's already in theaters. Actually, it might even be out of theaters now. It probably didn't even spend like more than 2 weeks on the big screen. I don't know. I might be wrong. I just know that it's already had its release. You guys may have seen it already, or maybe you've never even heard of it. But I just appreciated the surprising emotional payoff that this film gave me, especially if you're open to the oddball sort of structure or narrative that's going on in here. Give it a chance. Maybe you'll like it. Okay, that's all I have to say for now about Eternity. Time to wrap this one up. Later, guys.